Impulse Magazine 2014 here with another inspiring youth video, but there's a little bit of a change up this week. See, usually we've been speaking to people just out of college or studying within uni who are on the rise in their creative industries, but today we're joined with Darren Adam of Your Radio from Glasgow, and because Darren's just done it all in this industry of radio, we just couldn't pass up the opportunity to come out and speak to him, and it's a privilege to sit with you, Darren. Thank you very much for joining us here.
Very welcome, Mike. Very welcome indeed.
Super. So run us through some of the highlights of your radio career, which has spanned through most of your life.
Yeah, it feels like it. I started off doing the breakfast show Radio 4 in Edinburgh.
Right.
When it was 4th FM before it was 4th One, which was back in middle of the 90s, was my first time on breakfast. Before that, I'd been at Murrayfirth Radio in Inverness.
I see.
As a child, because that's what I was when I lived up there, when I'm from the Highlands originally. So breakfast from the age of sort of 22 was obviously a major highlight, and it was a big thing to get the breakfast show. It felt like a very big thing, and I didn't really realise at the time I'd be on it for as long as I was, because I was still doing it when I turned 30. And then I moved to Forth 2, which is the sister station. I wanted to do more interviews and speech and features, and not just play the records. And so I had a really interesting opportunity there to cover things like the Edinburgh Festival and elections, and interview lots of guests that came in, because Edinburgh's obviously the kind of city where you're going to get people of a really interesting kind of calibre, particularly with the festival and things.
Capture the culture.
Yeah, absolutely. And we should have make a note of that actually. We should really have. I think we did make the best of that in the time that we had available. Then after that, I was on air across Scotland on the network of stations. So I would do a show in Edinburgh that was also going out in Glasgow and Aberdeen and Dundee and Ayr as well. So that was good. And now I've got a few things on the go. I've also managed bands in my time as well, which was a really random thing that I sort of fell into. I remember the Radio 4th Awards about 5 or 6 years ago, which was a big sort of award ceremony that was run by the radio station. And I sat next to two guys that I didn't know, and it turns out they were the winners of the 4th One to Watch Award, which was an award that was set up to recognise local bands and local talent. And two of the guys from the band Jackal were sitting next to me, and we basically just got drunk together, and ended up managing them for 2 years.
The way the relationships
without really having a clue what I was doing, to be honest. And then I met another band called 6 Stories High and managed them. So spent a lot of spare time doing things like, literally driving 2,000 miles around the country,
right?
Putting on tours and things, and that was tremendous fun as well. And again, something completely different to what I'd done before. And then I'm now here doing the breakfast show once again at Your Radio in Glasgow, which covers the Firth of Clyde and Inverclyde and Loch Lomond side and everything to the west of Glasgow, which is a really interesting place to be. And it's a fun drive from Glasgow from Edinburgh at 4 o'clock in the morning, as you discovered this morning as well.
I can imagine. Yes, it's very early for me.
It's the earliest thing ever.
But having been around radio and involved in radio since you were about 9 years old, I believe, so you've seen it really change and adapt with the times. But if you're going to say to somebody now who's just come out of college, just come out of uni, or is looking to get into radio in any capacity, what would you say to them? What advice would you give them in order to get involved?
It has to be experience. I mean, I know that I know a lot of degrees and courses and qualifications are now available in this industry, as you know clearly. I think that the way to approach it, though. Come in. Thank you.
Hi.
Cheers.
So Rob, you're in the middle of an in-depth interview.
We need this for like 2 weeks. So I think it's really important to get as much experience as possible, and it doesn't really matter to a degree what that experience is. There are lots of community radio stations you can get involved in. There are lots of courses that you can do, and certainly a lot of what you do in these courses. I think the experience is more important than the qualification. What people are interested in is a proven ability to do a job at the end of the day. And the way that you prove that ability is by doing it.
Sure.
And to that extent, as I say, it doesn't really matter how you get the experience, just get it and have a visible and audible record of it, to be honest. So community radio stations, courses are useful in that way. When you have enough of a portfolio, if you like, I mean, record everything you do, keep everything you do. always keep on top of that. Always have that edited down. Maybe set up like a YouTube channel or an audio boo site or something where you've got your work constantly rotating the best things that you do, and have that available. You don't need to spend any money on it. You know, you can do all that for nothing.
No, that's something that I'd like to pick up for you. I mean, when you started in radio, it wasn't necessarily as accessible to get involved with it as it is today. You know, today you can turn on your laptop microphone and record a podcast. You can get involved in making this leap into this format. So, do you think that how beneficial is it to people nowadays to have the world be so open in terms of radio, in terms of creating audio content? Do you think that's changed the way that people get involved with radio?
I think, and I need to qualify this, but I think there are more jobs available. I think when I started, there were fewer jobs available, but there were better jobs, if that makes sense. There are more opportunities, but the chance to really make a living at this those chances are fewer and further between than they were.
Right.
I think.
Okay.
That's not to say that they're not there. We're definitely in a state of flux at the moment. It feels like everything is thinning out and diluting, in a sense. Does that make sense?
I suppose so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of.
It's atomizing, if you like.
Yeah.
There are more opportunities, but they may not be the right opportunities. Excuse me.
Sure.
On the radio. Just realised I had 6 seconds left there. Good morning, it's your radio, Tony Braxton and Babyface and Hurt You and Ace of Base and The Sign. It's 14 minutes past 7. How are you doing today? It's Darren with you until 9 o'clock this morning. Colin's here, good morning. Hello. How are you doing? You're very loud.
And welcome back. Of course, we're doing this as Darren is live on his show, so naturally we're interrupted a little bit there. But that's just the frantic world of morning radio.
Seems like a long time. It was about an hour ago, wasn't it?
It was a little bit of time.
Ago.
I was hoping to kind of switch away and switch back and make it look, make it look.
Well, this is like watching a season of 24, because they have to get the sunlight just right in each episode, and that's an hour brighter than it was the last time we did it.
This is true. This is true. It was an hour ago. Such a time has passed. In this brief window, we are back with Darren Adam. And Darren, I believe you were talking just before we cut away there. We were talking about gathering experience in radio.
And just as I was saying an hour ago, just to get that experience anywhere you can, any kind of experience anywhere. I think we listed some of the options like community radio, college. Just being in a radio studio, making radio, and having something that you can then take to a potential employer and say, this is what I can do, because it really comes down to being able to do the job in a provable way rather than having a piece of paper. And I think the experience that you gain while getting the bit of paper is useful. The bit of paper itself probably isn't, to be honest, in this industry. I mean, not that I've ever discovered or experienced. And I speak as someone who doesn't have a piece of paper. That's maybe where I'm coming from.
Let's move on to your work in managing bands. Now, you've managed acts out of Edinburgh such as 6 Stories High. You did that for about a year, I believe.
Well, 3 years actually. Yeah, it was 3 years with 6 Stories High.
Really? Okay. And so, what is it that you particularly look for in managing a band that you think would make them successful?
To be honest, it was something that I kind of fell into with both of the bands. With Jackal, who are now in London, with 6 Stories High. I've done some work with other bands as well, not officially. With Jackal, they asked me to, and then I saw them live, and I realised how incredibly tight they were as a band.
Right.
6 Stories High. I mean, I bumped into the singer of 6 Stories High through a mutual friend outside a club in Edinburgh at 2 o'clock in the morning. And he sent me some stuff about a month later, and I listened to it and thought, actually, you know what? I'm not working with Jackal anymore. There's some good stuff here, and it was the songs and also a decent vocal in that particular case. But it's to be honest, managing bands isn't something that I'm doing at the moment, and I'm not particularly looking to at the moment. But in terms of what I would look for, you can generally tell if a band is likely to be of any interest to anyone other than yourself when you hear it. I think one thing that working in radio has done, even though I don't do the kind of show, and I've never done the kind of show where I could play new music, I do have a sense of what is commercially successful and sounds right. I think so that part of it has influenced any decisions I've made in terms of band management. But again, it's not something I have a piece of paper in or a degree in.
Right. Okay. So
And actually, a friend of mine, Bruce Finley, who used to manage Simple Minds in the 80s, who's one of the few managers I know personally who's actually made a career out of this and money out of it. He sort of fell into it as well. Bruce used to run a record shop in the late 70s in Edinburgh, and took Simple Minds to a certain level, and when they reached that certain level, he was able to start doing it full time, and 5 years later he was with them backstage when they were doing Live Aid.
That's wonderful.
So to get to that sort of level is, I think, any sort of manager's dream, but it doesn't happen very often, I guess.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Darren. It's been a wonderful honor to be here at your radio.
And here's my colleague Dean. Hello, Dean.
How are you?
You all right?
Oh, is this your pal?
There we go.
Are you recording that as well?
Yeah, we're doing it right now.
Good, that's good.
Everyone, this is Dean Park, my colleague Dean, who's on air at 9 o'clock.
Hang on.
He's just
Good morning, how are you?
Dean's just arrived. So how was your journey in today, Dean? Because we get a sense
Very
of what
bad.
the traffic's like. Was it bad?
Very bad from the Clyde Tunnel to here in Dumbarton Road.
Right. Because you're normally
Jammed.
by about 8 o'clock. It's 11 minutes past.
Yeah,
8,
and I was fine to the tunnel.
Yeah.
Through the tunnel, Dumbarton Road, really bad.
Right. That's
There you
probably
are.
not much use if you're watching this now as a travel bulletin,
Well,
but nonetheless.
sure.
But anyway, you're very welcome, as you're saying. Very welcome, Mike.
No problem. Of course, you can download the Your Radio app. It's available on iTunes, it's available at the Google Play Store, and it's the best way to follow Your Radio. And all the contacts, all of their Facebook, all of their Twitter, and everything about Your Radio that you could possibly enjoy.
Pictures of us as well, actually. There's
Exactly.
photos. Yeah.
Don't forget to follow us, Impulse Magazine, Impulse 14 on Twitter, or Impulse Magazine 2014 on Facebook. But thank you very much for watching.